Come to order. There's a quorum present with 3 members present. All legal notices have been posted and the court has been duly called. Is there a motion to adjourn court for the March term?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to open court for the April term?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bailiff will open the court.
All rise. Dallas County Commissioners Court is now in session for the April 2017 term. Alderman Mike Cantrell presiding. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Our guest invocator today will be given as a guest of Dr. Daniel.
Well, good morning, and would Rabbi David Gruber please come forward? Rabbi Gruber is an interfaith wedding rabbi, and he's a native of Evanston, Illinois, an 8th-generation rabbi. He grew up in Israel, where he served as a tank gunner in the Israel Defense Forces Armored Corps, attended Yeshivat Shalmin, one of the most prominent institutions of higher Jewish learning in Israel, for 7 years, and received his rabbinic ordination from the chief rabbis of Israel. He holds a BA in history from Thomas Edison State College and an MS in educational leadership from Walden University. Rabbi Gruber has served in religious, educational, and communal leadership positions on 3 continents since his teens, specifically in Israel, New Zealand, and the United States. He currently serves as the Development and Communication Director of the Metro Dallas Homeless Alliance, MDHA. Though he used to be Orthodox, he now sees himself as a Jewish secular humanist. Rabbi Gruber deeply believes in helping each couple make the most out of the most wonderful day of their lives. Since 2008, he has officiated over 325 weddings, currently about 45 a year, in the United States and abroad. Having lived since his return to the United States in Overland Park, Kansas, Toledo, Ohio, and Dallas, Texas, he now lives in beautiful Frisco, the northern suburb of Dallas. He's still welcome.
Thank you. I want to thank Dr. Daniel for inviting me to give the invocation today, but more than that, I want to thank her for her ongoing passion and dedication in standing up for our homeless brothers and sisters. Thinking about homelessness in Dallas, I was reminded of a fascinating thing the Bible tells us about a legendary artifact shrouded in mystery, the Ark of the Covenant. Now, if you've seen Indiana Jones, 1979, spoiler alert, with all the great special effects, we never really get to see much of what is inside the Ark. Fortunately, the Bible gives it away. Among the objects in there, the 2 most prominent were the tablets upon which the 10 Commandments were inscribed. But wait, did I say 2 or perhaps 4? Because according to the Talmud, both sets of tablets, the one Moses breaks and the replacement set God gave him, were housed in the ark. As an aside, here Moses teaches us, like every smart Jew, you should always take out a warranty. You just never know. Now, the ark eventually disappears from the biblical narrative, hence both the ancient rabbis and their modern co-religionist, Steven Spielberg, get to imagine what happened to it. Let's take that one step further. Imagine you get into the huge warehouse that is shown in the last scene of Raiders. You find the ark and the contents we spoke of, the 2 sets of the tablets broken and whole. You're obviously excited. This easily would be one of the greatest findings in human history. And as befits any such event, you hold the inevitable press conference. Now strain your imagination to the absurd. Imagine a reporter asks, "Hey, I get that the whole tablets are important, but who cares about those broken tablets? We should just toss them, and they definitely should not be housed in the ark." What would be your reaction? Well, if it was me after I picked my jaw up off the floor, I would explain that both sets of tablets would equally be among the 2 most cherished findings in human history. These are not just stone tablets, these are the tablets. And that is why, as the ancient rabbis remind us, luchot v'shivrei luchot munachim ba'aron. The whole tablets and the broken tablets are both housed in the ark. This serves as a great metaphor for homelessness. The history of the modern homelessness crisis has seen 2 major approaches to solving this societal ill. One often referred to as housing readiness implies that if you are homeless, there's something fundamentally broken about you. You therefore must be made whole again, first, through a lengthy, demanding, complicated process. Only at the end of this process are you deemed worthy of housing. Now, clear evidence has shown that this approach does not really work for most people, yet it persists. Old habits die hard. The second approach is referred to as housing first, and it is rooted in the philosophy that everyone is fundamentally worthy of housing as a basic human right. It favors housing the homeless as quickly as possible, with two conditions only. Abide by your lease, meet regularly with a case manager. It offers wraparound services, so the housed individuals can address whatever brokenness they have, whatever challenges they are dealing with at their own direction. Clear evidence has shown that this approach really works for most people. In Dallas, it has a 95% success rate. So it's been embraced by the consensus of scholars, the federal government, and local governments across the country. The message of the legend of the Ark is instructive in this sense. It reminds us that whatever brokenness might manifest, the whole tablets and the broken tablets are housed in the Ark. Yes, even the broken ones, they too are worthy. That's a good thing, because do you know who else is broken? I am, and you are. The wholeness of the other set of the tablets is just an aspiration in human life. We are all, each and every one of us, in our own individual ways, broken. And yet each one of us, housed and homeless, rich and poor, materially successful, and those who are not, deserve the same basic dignity, a home. Sheluchot v'shivrei luchot munachim ba'aron. For the whole tablets and the broken tablets are both housed within the Ark.
Thank you, Robert.
Good morning. I will present our first resolutions this morning. Will the employees of the month please come forward? And they are Kenneth Carroll with Criminal Justice, Barbara Pippins with the District Clerk, Roderick Sanders with Facilities, Darla Spencer with Health and Human Services, Ashley Arnold with Information Technology, Cynthia Wallace with Juvenile, Nathan Vega with Public Works, Marco Juarez with the Sheriff, and Zateria Pirtle with the Tax Office. The resolution reads as follows. Whereas Dallas County employees are hardworking, dedicated, and play a vital role in achieving the goals and objectives set each year by the Commissioners Court. Most employees perform above expectations and ensure that Dallas County continues to be a regional leader and the destination of choice for residents and businesses. And whereas Dallas County Commissioners Court authorized the creation of the Employee Recognition Program in 2012 to encourage recognition of dedicated employees who represent the best and the brightest of our workforce. And whereas the Dallas County Employee Recognition Program is consistent with the county's approved administrative plan under which the county seeks to operationally be a model governmental agency, these employees represented the exemplar employees that Dallas County hopes to recruit and retain. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby salute the following employees for being selected as Employee of the Month in March 2017 and for their respective departments, and offers best wishes for continued success with Dallas County, and I so move.
And I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Way to go, guys.
We can't do it without you.
Anybody want to come
Wants
up
to
here and
say
cheer us out?
anything? Anybody wants to say anything?
Now's your chance.
This is a chance, yes.
I just want to take this time to say thank you, and I don't know, what else.
That's all
I
good.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I have the next resolution as well. And with the national service programs, please come forward. And that resolution, well, got a good showing from National Service today. And that resolution reads as follows. Whereas service to others is the hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenges. And whereas local leaders are increasingly turning to national service and volunteerism as a cost-effective strategy to meet city needs. And whereas AmeriCorps and Senior Corps participants address the most pressing challenges facing our cities and counties, from educating students for the jobs of the 21st century and supporting veterans and military families, to providing health services and helping communities recover from natural disaster. And whereas the national service expands economic opportunity by creating more sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, and leadership abilities for those who serve. And whereas AmeriCorps and Senior Corps participants serve in more than 3,000 locations in the state of Texas and 3,000 locations in Dallas County, bolstering the civic, neighborhood, and faith-based organizations that are so vital to our economic and social well-being. And whereas over 3,800 national service members work on 26 projects throughout Dallas County. And whereas national service participants increase the impact of the organizations with whom they serve, both through their direct service and by recruiting and managing millions of additional volunteers. And whereas national service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in community solutions and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollars. And whereas national service participants demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intensive commitment to service, a commitment that remains with them in their future endeavors. And whereas the Corporation for National and Community Service shares a priority with local leaders nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and is joining with the National Association of Counties, the National League of Cities, the United States Conference of Mayors, and local leaders across the country to recognize the impact of service on the Day of Recognition for National Service on April 4th, 2017. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Commissioners Court of Dallas County does hereby proclaim April 4th, 2017 as the National Service Recognition Day and encourage residents to recognize the positive impact of national service in our city, our county, and to thank those who serve and to find ways to give back to their community, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Any of y'all want to say anything while I take your picture for Twitter?
Sure. Hi, I'm Katie Dooley. I'm the acting director for the Texas office here with the Corporation for National and Community Service. And we are greatly appreciative of your support, Judge Jenkins, as well as the commissioners. You join over 4,500 elected officials today, representing half of the country, 194 million Americans, and we're greatly excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do in our communities in Dallas County. We appreciate it.
No?
Probably need to do it down in the front.
Yeah, y'all come on down, we'll do a photo.
It's all official.
Very efficient. While you're coming down, let me recognize Ashley Vista from last year, whose alma mater, UNC, won the national championship last night. I don't know if she can hear this, but congrats, Ashley. Congratulations. Yeah, back to UNC. Yeah, you sure come with some of y'all come on up here. I don't think there's any way it's gonna work if you don't.
Hey, don't worry, I'll take care of it.
We're going through that.
Thank you, Judge Jenkins, for your
Okay, here
support.
it is.
Appreciate you. All right.
What is that?
All right, and before I recognize Dr. Daniel, who will give our next two resolutions, just a tie-in to our vistas. We have two not so recently graduated vistas in our audience. One's on the podium. Dr. Daniel was a vista, and Smitty Smith, who is here for the next, I'm not sure if it's the next or the one after resolution, was a vista. And it really shows these people give back, and then they stay invested in their community for long periods of time, and they go on to all types of service. I've had the opportunity, as everyone on the podium, to get to know some vistas, work with some vistas, and it's just an incredible group of people that give back. So with that, let me turn it over to Dr. Daniel.
Thank you very much. Speaking of people who give back to the community, would those who are here for the Child Abuse Prevention Month please come forward? Sitting in these seats, we do an awful lot of different kinds of things, and today is a perfect example of just the broad reach and the variety of topics that we cover. But none is more important than Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas we recognize that most parents endeavor to be good parents and do not abuse their children, Dallas County, community partners, and service providers unite in their recognition of the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, a historical and significant step in child abuse prevention in the United States. Child abuse and neglect is a community problem, and finding solutions depends upon the involvement of citizens, and a lot of them, throughout the community. And whereas an estimated 202 Texas children, nearly 4 children a week, died from child abuse in fiscal year 2016, that number is expected to grow once data review for fiscal year 2016 is completed. Compare that to 2015, when that number was 171 statewide and 24 in Dallas County. And whereas in Dallas County, 4,535 children, 12 children a day, were confirmed victims of child abuse and neglect, 20,009 children, 55 children a day, were alleged victims, and 58,644 total Texas children were confirmed child abuse and neglect victims in fiscal year 2016. And whereas in Dallas County, 1,768 children, nearly 5 children a day, and 19,079 Texas children were removed from their homes as a result of abuse in fiscal year 2016. As of August 31, 2016, 558 Dallas County children and 6,999 Texas children were awaiting adoption. And whereas child abuse and neglect can cause children to have costly social problems, 2/3, 66% of children referred to juvenile delinquency court have some involvement in the social services system stemming from allegations of abuse, neglect, or dependency. For children with 2 or more offenses in juvenile court, the percentage increases to 89% who have some social services involvement. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed in part because of partnerships created among local, state, and federal officials, medical and social service agencies, nonprofits, private foundations, schools, religious organizations, law enforcement, government agencies, the business community, volunteers, and families. We call on all citizens to become more aware of child abuse and effective prevention programs within the community and become involved in supporting parents and other caregivers to raise their children in safe and nurturing environments. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Dallas County Commissioners Court, do hereby proclaim April 2017 Child Abuse Prevention Month in Dallas County. Be it further resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court, together with the Child Abuse Prevention Month Committee, call upon all citizens, legislators, other elected officials, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, schools, and businesses to increase their participation in efforts to prevent child abuse and neglect and advocate for child abuse prevention investment, thereby strengthening the health, safety, and productivity of the citizens in the community in which we live. And now, therefore, on this 4th day of April, I do so move.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
There were a lot of numbers that were mentioned here, but it's important to repeat that to remind us. But it is also so good to see so many people who are working very, very hard to affect that picture. So we have a lot of representatives from the Dallas County Child Welfare Board, from CPS, from Child Abuse Prevention Coalition, from the Dallas CASA, from Dallas Children's Advocacy Center, from Family Compass, from the Friends of Wednesday's Child, from Text Protects, and so many other people. And in particular, I think I see Kathleen is here from, Kathleen Laval from Dallas CASA, and if you would like to say anything, that would be appreciated.
Thank you, Dr. Daniel. I'm Kathleen Laval, Executive Director of Dallas CASA and a member of the Child Welfare Board. Nelson Mandela said, "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children." Tragically, 24 children died of abuse or neglect in Dallas County last year, the same number as in 2015. Another 4,626 Dallas County abused and neglected children lived in protective care last year because being at home was not safe. If we respond to the plight of child victims with intermittent surges of outrage, our children will be no safer and their future will be no less secure. Their contributions to society as adults will be in doubt, and we are bound to see the cycle of generational abuse repeated. The alternative to treating child abuse with a short attention span is to empower our community to come in off the sidelines and answer with our actions, advocating for and personally connecting with child victims so they don't fall between the cracks or feel forgotten. With nearly 1,100 volunteer advocates assigned last year, Dallas CASA was able to serve close to 2,700 children. 420 new volunteers were recruited, trained, and sworn in as CASA advocates, a record you helped us reach. As of the last day of February of this year, Dallas CASA was assigned to 75% of the abused and neglected children living in protective care in Dallas County. Progress toward our goal of serving 100% of abused children in protective care would not be possible without the help of the Dallas County Commissioners Court, which has been unwavering in its direct and meaningful support of Dallas children living in foster care. You are making a real and powerful difference in the number of at-risk children who are on our radar screen, helping each child feel less alone during a frightening and uncertain time. We are committed to serving our most vulnerable children so they can begin to heal from trauma, so they can dream of a future different than the one they have dared to imagine for themselves, and so our children can witness through our volunteer advocates how a caring, dependable adult acts, restoring or even creating for the first time a child's ability to form trusting attachments and healthy relationships. With your help, we will continue to do our part to recruit, train, and supervise volunteers to serve in the role of court-appointed special advocates. We look forward to being the host site of the Child Abuse Prevention Coalition annual awareness event this Friday. Thank you not just for the important and inspiring words in your proclamation, but for all you do to put our children first and to keep our children safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Tim Sexton is the chair of our Child Welfare Board that Dallas County offers. Did you have any words, Tim?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Tim Sexton, chair of the Dallas County Child Welfare Board. Today and throughout this month, we raise awareness about the need to keep children safe, as Kathleen said, and the statistics indicate that we have a lot of work to do. I would like to thank the commissioners for your thoughtful appointments to this board. It makes my job a lot easier. The board members are Joanne Hill, Vice Chair, Suma Ruth, Secretary, Betty Ritchie, Treasurer, and members Deli Ecombo, Monica Ellington, Kathleen Laval, Julia Malveaux, Peggy McCarty, Audrey Moorhead, Sophie Phillips, and Anastasia Seamoss. During this month, where we try to raise awareness of the need to keep children safe, we also celebrate some accomplishments toward this goal. And one accomplishment that I think is exciting is the effort in early detection and treatment, which singles out families who are possibly at risk and who are identified and offered services and training to remedy conditions that may lead to child abuse or neglect. So I speak for all board members when I thank you for this opportunity to serve the people of Dallas County in this way. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
for your
you
service.
so much. And thank you to all our appointees that are here today. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Ona Foster, and I'm with Family Compass, and we have a sole mission focus on the prevention of child abuse. And so I cannot thank you enough, Dr. Daniel, for supporting our efforts in this critical topic, and of course the entire court for your long-standing ongoing support. We know that prevention is the key. It is the key to the increasing caseloads in the CPS system, and we're committed to continuing our efforts to helping our fellow workers in that system decrease those caseloads. This Friday, after the event that Kathleen mentioned, the Child Abuse Prevention Coalition has worked very diligently to turn the skyline of Dallas blue. So make sure that as you're out driving around, look and see, take some pictures, post them on social media. The skyline will be blue. A number of buildings have pitched in, and so you'll see those lights turn blue. So we're very excited to raise awareness and keep moving forward with our efforts. But thank you. We're so grateful for your support.
Thank you very much. Hi,
Hi, good morning. I'm Sarah Burns, representing Dallas Children's Advocacy Center, where we coordinate the most severe cases of child abuse. Last year, we saw over 5,000 children and their non-offending family members, which only shows us that the number of cases is growing. However, on the note of prevention, we're very happy that we have educated over 50,000 people in both English and Spanish last year to help prevent child abuse and to learn how to report and recognize child abuse. Dr. Daniel, thank you so much for this proclamation and getting us all here together. We know that it takes all of us, not just the professionals working in the child abuse, but also the community and our elected officials. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We want to come forward and do a really quick picture just to say, this is Dallas County at its finest. Thank you so much. Hey, Judy, how you doing?
While they're coming forward, Betty Ritchie has brought my favorite mama with her. My mama Joanne is in the house.
If it would please the court, we have a guest among us. We've been talking about the victims. One is here this morning. Aya, one of those 17 that didn't make it to 2016. One like the 24 that didn't make it to this year. Ania is here with us. This is the memorial. This is the symbol of child abuse. It's not just words. It's not just memorials and memorandum. It is sad to say a pair of shoes that shall never run again, of a child that shall never laugh again. This is what child abuse looks like.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
And Dr. Daniels has our next resolution as well.
The next resolution, and if Tom Smith, Jane Sanders, Bill Maxwell, Lon Berman was here, they'll come forward, please.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Tom. Sorry.
Let's do the resolution first,
All right,
if
great.
that's all right.
Sure.
Can I? Yes. Thank you. Whereas Dallas County is committed to protecting the health, welfare, safety, and security of its residents through services of the Departments of Health and Human Services, the emergency preparedness, training and exercises provided through the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, and the Parkland Health and Hospital System efforts. And whereas Waste Control Specialist has applied to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for a license to store up to 40,000 tons of spent nuclear reactor fuel, the nation's most dangerous nuclear reactor waste, at their facility in Andrews County in western Texas. That waste could soon be shipped by rail or interstate highway through the Dallas-Fort Worth region. And whereas transportation routes can be predicted but won't be approved by the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission until after licensing would be completed. Therefore, this spent nuclear reactor fuel should remain secured at or near the site of generation and be transported only once when a scientifically viable permanent disposal site becomes available. And whereas during that transport, if an accident should occur with this spent nuclear reactor fuel releasing only a small amount of radioactivity, it could contaminate a 42 square mile area. A Department of Energy study found that cleanup could cost $620 million in a rural area and $9.5 billion in the most heavily contaminated square mile of an urban area. And whereas additionally exposure to dangerous levels of radioactivity is known to lead to birth defects, genetic damage, and cancers, unshielded exposure to high-level radioactive waste could give a lethal dose. And whereas our lives, land, and aquifers must be protected from radioactive contamination, which could result from accidents, radiation releases or leaks, or terrorist actions during the thousands of spent nuclear reactor fuel waste shipments that could occur for a period of 24 years if consolidated storage is licensed. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Dallas County Commissioners Court does not support the transportation of high-level radioactive waste, including WCS's spent nuclear reactor fuel, on our railways or highways through Dallas County for the purpose of consolidated storage or permanent disposal of high-level radioactive waste in Texas. And I so move.
Well, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And if Smitty, if you would.
Judge, Commissioners, Dr. Daniels, thank you very much for putting this resolution forward, and thank you for your support of this resolution. This is an important resolution for a number of different reasons for the health and safety not only of Dallas County, but the counties immediately surrounding and all along the rail lines will be carrying this waste. This waste is the really toxic and highly radioactive stuff that's from the center of the reactor cores. This isn't the gloves and booties or the medical waste that would come from your office, Dr. Garcia. This is the really toxic stuff, so toxic that a short-term exposure can kill you. Now, while there's been lots of testing and the risk of an accident is small, there have been for years questions about the accuracy and the adequacy of the studies about how safe this stuff is during transportation. And there have been dozens of accidents where there have been accidents with the casks that contain these, none of them, thankfully, lethal. But the problem we have is that the permit, the application to ship this waste out to West Texas is being considered in the next several years, not only for the WCS site, but a similar one on the New Mexico side of the border in Hobbs. And that permit is going to be considered and decided and the site operational before the studies are done to determine where the safest and how the safest way to get that waste out to West Texas is. Now, there are lots of problems that could result from transportation. These are about 150 tons apiece in terms of the amount of weight per cask, which can stress in the rail lines. And there are some opportunities here clearly for terrorists to attack such a cask and a shipment. Each of these casks contain as much plutonium as was in the bomb that was dropped over Nagasaki. And I'm not a terrorist, don't intend to ever be one, but thinking about this, what we see today in Mosul is that terrorists are now using drones to drop mortars or grenade launchers into the city. And that's the kind of technology that was never tested when we made the decision that it was safe to ship this waste. So what we're asking in this, what you've asked in this resolution, is for a seat at the table and to make sure that transportation is considered in the scoping that is done to determine the environmental consequences of transporting this waste. And by so doing, you've joined with Bexar County, City of San Antonio, and Midland, Texas Midland County of Midland is considering a similar resolution and saying, we want to make sure the transportation implications are known before this permit is issued. I think this is a prudent and responsible move, and I thank you for your responsibility in doing so. And we have a few other people who are going to add some additional thoughts. And thanks again for doing this.
Judge, Commissioners, first, thank you, Commissioner Daniel. I'm Lon Burnham. I'm from Fort Worth. Many of you may know that I represented a Central City Legislative District for 18 years. What you may not know about our transportation routes here in downtown Dallas and downtown Fort Worth is Tower 55 is a traffic signal for rail transportation through the core of both of our communities. Tower 55 manages over 50% of the traffic from the Port of Los Angeles going east. Tower 55 is so congested that for days at a time, rail traffic sits idly in our rail yards, just like the one you have over here, waiting to get through that traffic signal. For 18 years, I struggled to deal with that traffic congestion because I was particularly concerned about the trains sitting on the track next to the elementary school where the kids would crawl under the trains to get to their elementary school. Every one of those casts leaks constantly. You do not want them sitting in congested centers of urban centers like downtown Fort Worth and downtown Dallas. Thank you so much for this resolution. I just had to share that one fact with you.
Thank
you. Hi, I'm Jan Sanders. Thank you, Teresa, for the resolution and for the support of the court. I've been involved with nuclear issues probably 20 years more than I want to admit, as far as being old. But this, once you know something, you don't forget it. And so the toxicity of radioactive materials are that you don't smell it, you don't see it, you can't touch it, really. I mean, it is very insidious. And the notion that this toxic material would be passing through our city is very scary. Visualize a map of the United States, and I hope that all of you have it. The confluence of rail lines and highways comes through Dallas, Fort Worth, coming from the East Coast, where 90 nuclear power plants are located. 90 will be with tons of uranium loaded. They come in a confluence of rivers of transportation that when they're joined at Dallas-Fort Worth, they become like the Mississippi. They get crowded, as Lon said, and they might stop for a while, stop in time to allow the radioactive leakage of their cargo. It is very scary. We need to test more, and we need to take more seriously the idea of leaving it put and not transporting it all over the United States without clear science to protect the citizens. Thank you for your step in protecting the citizens of this area. It's a big one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan. Do you want a quick picture right up here? Just real quick. Real quick.
Not so quick that you don't smile. Everybody smile.
How are you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Anytime I see it all. Hey, Jack. How are you doing?
I'd like to meet with you on this issue.
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Mr. Kim Tripp.
See you.
And our final resolution today is from Dr. Garcia.
Last but not least, colleagues, members of the audience, I'm extremely excited about this resolution. Many times I have said here in open court, that life is about opening doors and opportunities. When I came to this country, obviously as an immigrant, as someone with very, 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 very limited English, I knew I had to go back to school if I wanted to become a dentist here in the United States. And while I already have a doctorate degree in oral surgery, I needed to go back to school. And El Centro College was the opportunity for me to be who I am today. And of course, El Centro, just like me, are getting old. We're celebrating 50 years of being open, and I'm going to ask our president, Dr. Jose Adames, and his group to come and join us to the front. I know that there are several people from the academic affairs, Dr. Greg Morris, Jameen Crawford, and I'm sure Dr. Adame will introduce the rest. So I'm very proud to read this resolution that says as follows. Whereas El Centro College became the flagship college of the district by being the first college to open its doors in 1966. The name El Centro reflects the center of the downtown area. Its central location allows students from all parts of Dallas County to benefit from core educational courses transferable to four-year institutions, as well as a career training in more than 50 exciting fields and a variety of continuing workforce education courses. And whereas El Centro has grown from one campus into several locations, these locations include the downtown campus, where 4 buildings have been added to the original location. The West Campus includes the R Building, which once was home to the Dallas County Community College District, the DCCD offices, the Paramount Building in the West End, where El Centro Center for Allied Health and Nursing is located, the Wellness Center at the top of the Bank of America Towers parking garage, and the Center for Design, which houses classrooms and labs for several academic programs. And whereas El Centro was the first college of the Dallas County Community College District to offer nursing program and has established relationships with several top-notch hospitals in Dallas area. It also is the only college within the Dallas County Community College that offers a food and hospitality program and was selected as one of America's top 20 culinary schools by FSR Magazine in 2014. College classes are also made available by El Centro Community College to inmates at Lewis Sterrett County Jail. These classes give inmates the opportunity to learn computer skills, welding skills, and art, as well as the opportunity to participate in educational development programs designed for continuing education credits, such as food service, print shop skills, and most recently, and this was in the news, the dog training program with the Sheriff Department. Whereas, in the past 50 years, El Centro has grown into a premier educational entity in the downtown Dallas community with award-winning programs such as health and science, technology, engineers, art and science, fashion, culinary, transfer opportunities, and many, many others. The college has provided valuable economic, social, and cultural benefits to Dallas and beyond. Most recently, it has partnered with the Dallas Independent School District to establish 5 collegiate academies, offering students an opportunity to complete an associate degree while finishing a high school diploma. And whereas since 1966, when El Centro College opened its doors as the first college of the Community College District, thousands of students have attended the institution, becoming active and productive members of the workforce and communities they live in. The celebration of diversity and opportunities for collaboration are part of what makes the college such a unique and valuable asset in Dallas County. And whereas this school year, 2016-2017, El Centro College is celebrating 50 years of changing lives through higher education. The theme for this anniversary is 50 Highway to Success, 50 years and beyond. The celebration and silent auction will be held on April 28, 2017 at the Bomb Factory in Deep Ellum and will serve as a fundraiser for their 50th anniversary scholarship fund. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize and congratulate El Centro College, its staff and alumni on their 50th anniversary and appreciate all the contributions to Dallas County in making successful and productive community members through the high-quality education and programs they offer. And I so move.
And I proudly second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Dr. Adames.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Garcia, Judge Jenkins. We are very pleased to be here this morning. I brought a couple of people of my leadership team, and I'd like to go through the names if you permit me. Dr. Greg Morris. You can raise your hands if you like. Dr. Shameen Crawford, Jesse Yearwood, a faculty member and the president of our faculty association. Maggie Lopez, a staff member and the president of the Staff Association. Lenora Reese, our vice president of business services. Priscilla Staley, our director of marketing at the college. And Karen Stills Reister, staff member at the college, but also the president of the Administrators Association as well. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. We are very pleased to celebrate the 50th anniversary of our college. 1966 is when we opened our doors. 1968 was the first group of graduates. We're very pleased to have as alumni Dr. Garcia, Mr. Zachary Thompson as well, who is also going to be our graduation speaker in May that we're holding in Fair Park. We're staying within Dallas County. So this is really a wonderful experience for all of us, all of the staff members at the college. We celebrate something that is called the Spirit of El Centro, where we acknowledge one individual for illustrating all the good things, all of the core qualities, all of the values that are El Centro, which is about giving back to the community. And this past year, we decided after the July 7th tragedy that occurred that we would give the Spirit of El Centro to the entire college to demonstrate the commitment that we have to the resurgence of the college after the July 7th event. We are a strong partner in Dallas. We are a college that is committed to elevating the experiences of our students, helping them to find quality jobs, helping them to transfer to four-year institutions. And how wonderful that this court has decided to celebrate with us this event. You're all welcome to come to our celebration on April the 28th at the Bomb Factory in Deep Ellum. It's going to be a wonderful celebration for the college, and we look forward to the next 50 years of us working to elevate the experiences and the opportunities that we present to everyone here in Dallas. Very much so, our theme and our mission statement is changing lives through higher education, and every day our staff members live that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate it. We will be there, and like Dr. Adames just said, we invite everyone to join us that day. What a better way, like Dr. Daniels just mentioned, when we talk about the Commissioner's Court, we go through everything from education, child abuse, all the different areas that we cover, and we couldn't do it with partners like El Centro College. And thank you, Dr. Adames, for your leadership with all the programs that together we have, not only with the jail, but also the fire marshal, nurses, everything that we do. And obviously, humbly, thank you for all the support.
Thank you so much for your support.
I think just a moment of privilege to also welcome. I've got a new staff member in the audience, and that is Walter Taylor. Has joined us, has now lasted the week. He comes to us from Tarrant County, but that's okay. But with lots of experience, and I welcome him and have him join with us to do the work of Dallas County.
Pleasure to be here.
Welcome. And also, another moment of privilege, Josh. Today is Equal Pay Day, National Day. Recognizes the struggle for women to have equal pay. And while the struggle continues, we recognize that today is the day that we continue to move forward as women fighting for equal pay. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. We have an announcement of winners before we get to our presentations for the brackets. We had hundreds of people that played. I did not keep the score, folks. This was the ESPN app that did this, so if you didn't win, it's not our fault. And the winners are in the men's bracket. Third place went to Andrea Andrew. Second place went to Eugene Clay. And the top person was Vince Coronado in the men's bracket. So congratulations to those three, to all North Carolina fans and everyone who participated. Now we got the women's bracket. In the women's bracket, third place was Roger Jonas. Second place was Pat Cryer. And first place, and I swear this is not rigged, was Ruby Blum in my office. Where's Ruby?
Oh, Miss Ruby.
So congrats to South Carolina, SEC, North Carolina, ACC, everybody who participated. Good job, y'all.
What are the prizes?
And the prizes, the DA says I can't announce from the podium, but they're the same prizes as last year, and you will be receiving a token of appreciation and love from me that's not a county expense.
We'll keep going.
Right.
Ms. Ruby, you might have to give that prize back. Token of appreciation.
And we've got presentations.
Yes, we do, Mr.
Thompson, do you have
Thompson.
anything? You're standing up, so I'm assuming you have something.
And before anything else, Mr. Thompson, we are going to miss you dearly. You have been one of those people that have always been in the front line when Dallas County needs to, come forward. And, it's been an honor working with you, sir.
Oh, same here.
Your
Thank you all
legacy
too.
will continue.
Oh,
It
it
will
will.
not be forgotten.
Oh, without a doubt. We're going to turn to West Nile, Zika, and mumps. I'm going to bring up the
Those
top
praise
nurse. Cameron Fryer.
So for mumps cases in Dallas, we have a total of 72 mumps cases for Dallas County as of April 1st, 2017, 55 within Cedar Hill ISD, 14 unrelated cases within Mesquite, Dallas, and DeSoto, 3 related cases within DeSoto. What the takeaway message is always prevention, immunization. Definitely cover your cough. Make sure you're up to date on your immunizations, vaccination histories, and statuses, and also no sharing of utensils, water bottles, etc. DCHHS is providing ongoing active clinics for those requiring the third dose. The CDC recommends third dose MMR vaccinations for individuals associated with an outbreak. As you can
Most of the outbreak was in Cedar Hill, right? I mean, and if I understand this briefing correctly, 88% on the second dose are already down.
So 2 doses, high rate dosage for the MMR vaccine is at 88%. That's the impact.
And most of the cases were in Cedar Hill.
Most of the cases for ongoing outbreak investigation is Cedar Hill ISD.
Okay.
That's correct. So as you can see with our mumps cases in Dallas County, there has been a low incidence within the past couple of years. I'll turn it over to Dr. Perkins, our top doc, for our Zika and West Nile updates.
Thank you, Nurse Squaggins. Good morning, Commissioners Court, citizens of Dallas County. Mosquito season 2017, we're on the cusp of beginning heightened mosquito activity. As far as 2016, West Nile virus, we had 61 citizens of Dallas County diagnosed with West Nile virus. Of those 61, 41 were diagnosed with the more severe West Nile neuroinvasive disease and 20 with West Nile fever. Unfortunately, in 2016, we had 3 Dallas County residents to die of their West Nile virus infections. Next slide. In relation to the other looming threat in the Western Hemisphere, Zika, Dallas County experienced 62 confirmed cases of travel-related Zika in 2016. Next slide. To date, in 2017, I'm going to give you an updated. There are 6 travel-associated Zika cases in Dallas County to date in 2017. Next slide. This is our risk action levels based on Zika in regards to travel-associated. That puts us at phase 1 in the mosquito season. When we get our local transmission via mosquito, that would take us to a higher level, and that will result in a subsequent public health response. Next slide, which is illustrated based on this visual. When we get our local transmission via mosquito, we will conduct a public health enhanced surveillance effort, both clinically as well as vector control wise, in a 500-foot radius of that house of that particular case, which would eventually reach out to CDC recommendation of a half-mile radius, 1 mile diameter. Next slide. If continued activity is illustrated by mosquito spread of the Zika virus, we will consider, along with the State Health Department and CDC, issuing a travel advisory to warn everyone that they need to take appropriate precautions, especially if they're pregnant, as well as those that are considering pregnancy. We're going to be looking for people that are symptomatic for Zika illnesses, as well as pregnant women, so we can take the appropriate response to minimize the impact. That gives our clinical update on Zika and West Nile to date in Dallas County.
Doctor, we are on the first pre-incident, right? One of the pages here in our briefing says the action risk levels. Would you please, just for the public, say, which on which part we are? And, as we know, Dallas County has been fighting this, so we're staying the same stage.
Yes. We have been conducting year-round surveillance of mosquito activity in Dallas County, which means that we have year-round mosquito activity throughout Dallas County. Where does that place us to date? Being April, first week in April, we're at phase 0, where we have mosquito activity. However, based on the fact that sustained warmer weather is going to be starting here shortly as we get into mid and late spring and summer, the official mosquito season in Dallas County is from April through October. As far as the state, they say that the mosquito season is basically May through October. But as far as enhancing our public health awareness, we decided that we were going to go ahead and start the campaign for mosquito protection starting now. As we get into the warmer weather, that will take us into phase 1, based on the travel-associated travel history of exposure to Zika. And as we get the local transmission, when it occurs, that'll take us into phase level 2. And if there's sustained mosquito transmission of Zika, that takes us to phase level 3. And as you see on the handout there, it gives an indication, as far as what will be as far as our public health campaign, as far as our vector control, and as far as our epidemiological reach to contain the outbreak and to stop it altogether. Because Zika, the concern is most definitely due to the probability of birth defects associated with Zika in pregnancy. So Dallas County Health and Human Services and our state and federal partners, we're working out together as a team, and we're asking all Dallas County residents to do the appropriate individual activities of utilizing the 4Ds, wearing the long sleeve, long pants, making sure your house is in good repair as far as your screens on your windows and doors, that you minimize activity when mosquito action is most likely going to be dusk and dawn. However, with the Zika mosquitoes, we know that they bite throughout the day, and that you apply the insect repellent based on label instruction all day, every day. We share paradise with the mosquito, and we continue to live here. We need to make sure that we look around our properties and that we look for breeding sites so we can fight the bite and eliminate those breeding sites so we won't get bitten. And that's our campaign.
Thank you, Doctor.
And you got material. I want to thank Top Doc, Tamara. They've done an excellent job in doing webinars. We met with all our cities continuously. Of course, we always expect the Monday morning quarterbacks once something comes up, but they have met with the cities. They have done what is necessary to make sure that everyone is
We still have the same municipalities, 13?
13 cities. We met with all 25 municipalities in an ongoing discussion about preparing. We discussed with them on lava siding, a possibility, of course, aerial spraying. So everyone is in tune with the CDC guidelines. And so I just want to thank the team for what they do every day in terms of the outreach and working
And
with our
before they
municipalities.
ask me, Mr. Thompson, the donks, are we going to have the
Yeah,
donks
we're going
this
to reach
year?
out and we'll connect with purchasing. I think we've already done the actual procurement process, so we'll be placing the orders on the donks.
And it will be free to all our 13 municipalities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And thank you so much.
right.
It's always great.
Thank you so much.
English
for all
and
you do.
Spanish, and the door hangers are already distributed to all our municipalities. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I know we have to dig in.
All right, and we got a couple of
Presentations.
presentations from Dr. Garcia that she's requested today. Dr. Garcia, do you want to lead that? or do you
Yes,
want
well, thank you, Josh, colleagues, members of the audience. You know, I asked Mr. Heichel, to have some presentations today, mainly because, as we have here lately, it has to do more than anything with, what's going on in our unincorporated areas. As we have seen, we have continued to grow. So I asked our, administrator and asked, Fire Marshal de Los Santos to please come forward, as well as, we are going to have the sheriff's, a representative of the sheriff department to talk about, what is going on, how are we prepared to handle an emergency in Dallas County, how prepared are we, and of course, what are we doing about it. So I know, Fire Marshal, that you've been working. We hire an additional staff to work with you in, zoning and other issues when it comes to all the problems that we can have in an incorporated area. Would you please brief the Commissioner's Court on how much have we grown in these areas? What are the problems that you're seeing and foreseeing in the future?
Right now, a lot of it's in the southeast portion of the county, and also some in the northeast portions of the county. We got developments coming out there, houses being built, and we're doing development processes with them on that.
Can you get closer to the
sorry.
mic, Fire Marshal?
And also one of the things I believe we talked about once about is the 911 dispatching issues out here. Since I'm over the emergency service in the unincorporated areas of the county, one of the questions was asked of me is, what happens when a 911 call comes in? If cell tower hits it in Saxe, it'll probably go to Saxe, and then from that, the dispatcher will send it to the Dallas County Dispatcher Services, and then they'll go ahead and whether it's a police request or it's a medical request, then the contracts we serve in the unincorporated, like in Saxe Fire Department, and as well in Lancaster, if that happens, out towards the Bear Creek Additions area. Depends where that cell tower pings, that's where the dispatching location will go, probably Lancaster, and then they'll transfer to Dallas County Dispatcher Services as well.
And are we prepared for any kind of emergency, Fire Marshal? I mean, how good has been our response? How much have we grown in those incorporated areas in District 3 and District 2?
Right now, we're looking probably about 7,800 people in the unincorporated areas of the county, which there's going to be more development. The numbers could be another 1,500 and in the near future.
1,500 additional people.
Yes.
Where are the municipalities, in this kind of development? Are we working with them to be sure that they share some of the burden and cost as well?
And that's what we're doing right now, Commissioner, is we're working, right now we got a new director, Michael Gray. Okay. Mike, he's working with interlocal agreements with the municipalities in reference to the unincorporated areas of the county.
Okay. Do you foresee any changes? I mean, obviously, we'll continue to grow. We're going to have, some, hopefully soon, some negotiations with some of the areas adjacent to ours.
I think there is going to be some positive changes as well, but there's going to be some, as I call it, stumbling growths, because again, we're going to start facing more issues out here in the unincorporated areas, just like in the Bear Creek areas. You're going to start looking at code enforcement issues out there, high weeds, swimming pools out there, state mandates of swimming pools unprotected with a fence. We, as a code enforcement officer, we have to act on issues like that, and those are the concerns that are going to be coming.
So some of the concerns that we have in the near future are some of the concerns that some of the municipalities have already: code enforcement, quality of life issues, and some other services that traditionally the Dallas County has not provided.
Correct.
Are we prepared for those to provide those services?
I think we're leading into the right path. We're starting to work more. We're going through some budget process. We're requesting additional personnel to help us out with some of these issues. Again, these are just, as I said, stumbling growths that we're going to be coming in presence to our unincorporated areas of the county.
Thank you so much, Fire Marshal. Sheriff, do you want to add anything to? Obviously, all these calls come and are going to be done.
We sent you a report of the amount of calls for a 1-year period, and most of our calls were answered within a 10-second period. There were a few that were drop calls or people hang up. I think there was 2 for a 1-year period, but we're pretty good at answering these calls. Now, we're talking about expansion. We're talking about, the unincorporated area is not getting less people. It's getting quite a few more. And of course, we're the responders to that area. As of this time, we have, our issue with dispatchers. It's hard to get dispatchers. Right now, we have 14 vacancies, which is a pretty large percentage for a 24-hour period. I did notice in reviewing that, thank you for bringing it to my attention, I did notice in reviewing that our starting pay is, there's only one city in the whole DFW area that pays less than us. So our starting pay is about second to the bottom. We continue to compete with the surrounding areas for the same folks. So it's important that we look at it. And we're doing a strong effort to go out there and recruit some more. One of the challenges of that area is we can't train too many at a time because it's a multitask training thing. And if you get 10 people in there trying to multitask, you have a huge confusion. So we're only going at about 4 or 5 at a time. But we still need these folks. And as soon as we finish the 4 and 5, we go after the next 4 and 5.
How long will it take you, Sheriff? Obviously you have 14 vacancies, and training 4 or 5 at a time. What's the timeline for us to be complete?
1 year.
In the meantime, safety is, within Dallas County. You feel
And
confident that we will continue to have a 10-second.
And that if you look at that report, we've done really well. I mean, I think it's 98% of our calls were answered within 10 seconds. But we are paying overtime, and we are having to bring people in to work those hours, and fatigue starts happening when you start bringing a lot of those in. So we're asking you to look at that.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any additional comments?
Dr. Chris, I'd ask Ms. Hunter from the Technology Department to be here.
Yes, my name is Paulette Hunter. I'm with the IT operations. I am...
Ms. Hunter, can you put them... Thank you.
Is that better?
Yeah, a lot better.
My responsibilities includes the hardware of the 911 system. So I'm in charge of ensuring that the hardware is always in operation. I am the main point of contact for the the hardware for the maintenance, and in 2014 we refreshed our hardware. So we have a 5-year maintenance warranty on that. In 5 years it's out, and we'll have to go again and look at renewing those maintenance agreements.
But as you know, as the representative of IT, you feel confident that the system will work.
Yes.
You know, if anything happens and there's a big emergency in any of our incorporated areas, the sheriff will continue to get all the information. We will have any lack of, people taking care of the calls or any failure in our software or any of our IT.
And I talked to the dispatchers in the call center to ask them, do they experience any delays or anything like that? And they indicate they're doing pretty well. They have 6 centers or setups, and that their calls flow through. So on that 6th or 7th call, it rotates over to Lancaster. And I asked them, how often does that happen? They said it doesn't happen that often at all. So
doesn't happen that often
that
in
calls
a week.
are overflowing.
Okay.
And based on a report in 2015, the amount of calls that we took for wireline, we took 4,753 calls.
4,000?
Mm-hmm. That's in 2015, that's wirelines. And for wireless, we took 14,880. And in voice over IP, we took 225 calls.
225. Okay. And Fire Marshal, we continue to have those drills. Everybody here feels confident that other than some of the staffing issues that we're working on, in case of an emergency, we'll be fine in any unincorporated area. Our biggest challenge is going to be the quality of what I call the quality of life issues.
I believe so. And,
One of the issues we're having because of the code is getting our vehicles in there. There's not enough space if you park on both sides of the room to get our vehicles through there. So we're asking that we pay attention that either they don't park on both sides or they make the roads bigger so that our emergency vehicles can go fast through
That
there.
is a big issue.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
If an emergency vehicle cannot go through a street.
Well, if they park on both sides,
Okay.
if they park on both sides, they can't go through.
We're
They have
working
to
on
do.
that.
They have to do a roundabout or something, and we are.
So those are some of development codes of
But we've
building,
addressed
right?
some of those issues also, haven't we? We've
we
changed.
have to address some of those development issues right now out there in the Lancaster area. What we're doing, a resolution's gone through, and I believe it's already gone through purchasing. What we're doing the fire lane striping on one side of the streets because of those narrow roads, and they're going to be painted red with no parking, and that's going to give the mobility for emergency access.
Yep. We have to be sure, Mike, that those issues are addressed as well.
Thank you for your vigilance.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Heichel. Thank you,
Doctor.
Sheriff. Ms. Hunter, Fire Marshal.
I want to recognize a few of our state partners. My emergency management chief is in Maryland today at the Emergency Management Institute. He would normally give this report, and the duty officer that we had responding that night, it's her day off. So from our office, the judge or I immediately requested to conduct air monitoring on the scene from TCEQ, from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. They reported very quickly. We were very pleased with their response time, and they found no hazardous or public safety risk from airborne smoke and chemicals to the public generated by this tire fire. TDEM, that's the Texas Department of Emergency Management, sent a representative on scene, which they aren't required to do, so that was very good on their part. They're one of our state partners. Sent a representative on scene to assist with resource coordination. He was there throughout the first night of this. The State Forestry Service sent a crew to the scene to assist with the fire, but they weren't able to deploy due to heavy smoke from the tires. Our department, HSEM, monitored the incident throughout the period of time the tires continued to burn and had input working with TCEQ regarding them working with the owners of the property to manage the cleanup. And Roderick Jones with our department, who I think was off that night, but he is here helping represent the department today. And that's basically the end of our
Right,
report.
and we're going to have some additional information today. So, thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Heichel and Fire Marshal, Sheriff, and IT, Ms. Hunter. Thank you.
And you had another presentation? No?
No, that was it, Judge. I mean, we wanted to see where was this. You know, we have some changes, you know, within the department, and we continue to look as the city of Dallas is going through some challenges. Be sure that Dallas County is on top of what we're doing, especially because unincorporated areas continue to grow, and we need to have a better management, which I think our, you know, additional staff hopefully will start working on that.
Right.
That's it. Thank you.
Great. And next is our consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have court orders K1 through 51 and addendums 52, pulling 12 for 2 weeks.
Hold on, Judge.
Well, yeah, point. Okay.
One
I
to
move court orders 1 through 51, excluding court orders 12 and 26.
12 and 26. Yes, thank you, Commissioner.
I'm missing it.
Judge and Commissioners, we have a modification to court order number 22. I just need to read that into the record. It's not a substantive change.
On what?
Court order number 22, the actual court order itself.
Go ahead.
Yes. And what the change is going to be is in the paragraph that begins with the word be it resolved, we'll delete that particular third sentence and insert this, which says, after the word and, authorize the county judge to sign the contract with the Department of State Health Services and any related documents on behalf of Dallas County. Insert the symbol for period. And then Zachary Thompson is authorized to execute the electronic certification or acknowledgement that the contract was approved by the county, period. That's the insertion.
Maker agrees to the substitute language.
And also, the exception is on number 52. I mean, I will be voting against it.
We hadn't moved 52
52?
yet. We haven't moved it.
Okay, sounds good.
It's 1 through 51, excluding 12 and 26.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Any, Jonathan, any comments? And Jonathan, you want to tell us, you did some great work on cost containment. You want to tell us about that, or you're up on the demolition?
Yes, sir. That's on the agenda. As you stated, quality and cost control are top priorities. We have the Phase 1 demolition for the records building on this agenda. That includes non-structural areas, mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems will be removed, ceilings, walls. And it also includes the rest of the abatement, which is in the old criminal courts building. So that's the additional lead. Everything that's presented is within budget, and we're moving forward on schedule.
And with timeline, right, Mr. Basan?
Yes, Dr.
Within timeline, and you know, colleagues, Mr. Basan sent us all the update, you know, that he and his staff have been working with. One of the things that we're working with in the committee is to be sure that you all are aware of where we are, where we're moving, what are our challenges. And I want to thank him and the department for doing really, you know, you can see how we continue to work in preserving the historical beauty of the records building with the Ruby courtroom and the...
we can't see it yet. It's just how...
Well, but let me tell you, Judge, you can't see it yet, but, you know, there's been a lot of work from the staff, you know, moving all the historical magnificent historical, may I say, beauty of those courtrooms, into the storage that we approved several months ago. And not only that, working with the Historical Commission and the Texas and the city and everything, it's been a lot of work. And not only that, they already started meeting as well with some of the elected officials, and I know they met with Mr. Ames already, and we continue to move forward. But the main thing at this point, phase 1 is finished. It's for the amount of money, it's under budget and it's on time. So thank you to the staff and thank you to the committee that continues to work on this. We will continue to brief you all as we move forward with this project. So thank you, Mr. Bazan. And is that it, Judge, about that? Because I have other comments.
Does anybody have, I just want to give him a little shout out, but does anybody have any other comments on the court orders that we're about to vote on?
I have one, and it's related to Court Order 16, and I know I told Ms. Pippins-Poole, that, this is something that I know the county has been trying to move forward. I believe there's also an item in the legislature, but is, related to the way we allow the members of the public to request a hard copy of any of the filings in our system. And, what I think is a very, very good issue, and thank you, Ms. Toni Pippins-Poole, for your leadership of this. I also know that it's indispensable that it works, and having some challenges when it was implemented with the City of Dallas. Ms. Toni Pippins-Poole, how do you feel about this? I mean, are we ready? I mean, as an elected official, obviously, anything that is more transparency for the public is important and well received. But I just want to be sure that we're prepared and ready to go once this is implemented, and what is the timeline, the function, and how is it going to work, how the filing information is going to be managed.
Well, the software that this particular item is very secure, and we've talked to Mr. Victram about it, and we've gotten his reassurance about the software and how it should be accessed. So, and if we need to, he can explain exactly about this different type of software. It is cloud-based and it is hosted, so we won't have that kind of an issue. So I don't know if you want to go ahead and speak about that software.
Yes, ma'am. Based upon conversations with the county elections office, as well as the county administrator's office, and also conversations with the vendor, it's basically a subscription service to a cloud-based program, and basically you just have administrators in the county elections office as well as administrators in the county clerk's office that basically will gain access and stuff to it. Then basically people that are actually filing for the or actually using it to go put in their filing information will actually not necessarily come through the county, but they'll basically go directly to the actual site. So for that particular regard and stuff, it seems to be relatively straightforward. So we basically have used other cloud hosted services as well. But it's being hosted by Microsoft on a Microsoft Azure, which is obviously one of the leading cloud hosting companies. Obviously, everybody knows Microsoft. We basically use Microsoft Azure because it is it's the only one that we're aware of right at this particular time that is CJIS certified by the state of Texas DPS office. So certainly, I think they made a good choice in that particular regard, and it seems to be again relatively straightforward as far as the technology aspect.
Okay. How many other municipalities use it? And will this be compliant with anything the state is working on in the legislature?
Well, currently only 2 other counties in Texas use this software, and that's Tarrant County and Denton County. There are other states that utilize it: Georgia, Tennessee, Colorado. So, but in Texas, there's only 2 at this moment. It is very in compliance because before we can utilize this, it has to be approved by the Texas Ethics Commission. So you'll see a letter that we submitted this product and we got approval for it. So it does meet the state standards requirements for entry of documents, the ability to accept a wet electronic signature after you provide a wet signature on file. So the Secretary of State has already certified this to be used and in compliance with their standards.
Okay, I mean, so I guess 2 other counties have been using it. I haven't heard any other elected official complain about it, but as long as it's, ready to go. It will also comply with our transparency policy of 2 years being online.
Right, absolutely. We will be able to put in their specific dates for retention, and the system will automatically, based upon the dates, will automatically delete that file. So, and we will also, and one great feature about it, it will send out notifications to the individuals. So even filing deadlines would notify you about that. We're about to delete your account, it would notify you about that. So that's really good. And other features is, right now, this is such a manual process with our department and the county clerk's department. So now it becomes very automated that the candidates and office holders go directly to and complete your profile, and you're responsible for putting that into the system. We have in the past had to scan and put in that information as a PDF. So going forward, this system and all your documents that you enter into this system will be searchable, that you can put very few characters in and search for a specific candidate or a specific donor. That kind of information would be searchable. I do have to say that everything prior, we're looking at a June 1st rollout date to be able to get this to all of our candidates, all of our filers that we currently have in on record, so they'll know before the next filing, which is July the 1st. So we have that 30-day window in there. So we educate everyone about the filing, about this online filing, and we'll send out task guides with this information. We can do it by email. We'll also do it by mail too, and we will also have it on our website. And we're also going to have a press release so they can understand that Dallas County is going to automation, new technology, and we're moving back from the manual to paper process.
Anything to make it easier is appreciated.
But it's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory. You do have that choice to file as you regularly do. So we will take those type of filings. They can bring it, you have to bring those to our office. You have to submit those or by mail, but it has to be timely. So we do have that option still.
Are you going to have some training for it? Or this is a simple guidelines? I remember with the city of Dallas when they implemented it.
We're going to offer training. We're going to offer training, and in our packet to everyone, we're going to tell you what that training timeline will be. So there is also a tutorial that you can go through and look at it and play around with it. And then when you're ready to file, then you go through the filing process. But we will have training for our staff and also any of the filers.
So I've got some questions. This is bringing back some concerns that I expressed to you in an email.
Right.
We're spending $14,000 a year. We've got a little less than 100 people who file with us. And now some of those people are like Lee Jackson, who hasn't been in office for 15 years but maintains his campaign report. I love everybody, and I want everybody to have a convenient experience, but 100 elected officials and former elected officials and desiring to be elected officials, life being easier in the way that they file papers that they're required by law to file, that they're filing now for $14,000 a year seems like, and it's a recurring cost, seems like a lot of money to me. But what I'm hearing the advantage is that watchdogs would now be able to go in and search, say by name, a donor to find out who is influencing politics in a certain way. Okay, so that's a plus. And another plus I'm hearing is that you don't have to enter things manually, enter PDFs, because this is cloud-based. So that saves us a little bit of money off that $14,000. Do you know how much money off that $14,000?
Would that save? Now that it's really $13,000 that's continued, and that's for the licenses to have access for any users. It's unlimited users to have access, even though
Taxpayers are paying for it, though.
Right, right. But the savings would be we wouldn't have to direct all of our attention on receiving or working with individuals who, the people that you're talking about, they send in PIAs, and we have to take the time to pull when they want to know information about a particular candidate or particular donors. We have to manually go through the process, print it off, and then redact the information, and then make copies and give it to them.
And how many times a year do you do that?
Oh, PIAs are coming to our office nearly, we have, depending on the year, if it's an even year when there's a presidential or a gubernatorial, we can have requests up to 5 a month or 20 a month. It just really depends on the candidacy and some issues, because we're getting almost now daily.
Okay, so for the people that don't want to file this new way,
right?
Because you can file electronically now somehow, right?
Not in Dallas County.
Not in Dallas County.
Not in Dallas County.
So now what they do is they file, they mail it, they hand it in, we PDF it, and it's online for people to see. Okay, so if we got candidates and office holders who continue to file the old way, and
we're still going to have to do it the old way.
Thing, well, that's a bit of a concern too, because the candidates and office holders may not want to make it easy for their opponents to search their donor list or what have you. So if we don't make it mandatory, it's not likely that it'll be highly used. Is there a way to make it mandatory?
Not currently with the TEC. We would have to have some legislation that would.
And I know that Honorable Warren did say that there is a bill filed to make it, mandatory as we speak in the legislature. So that's, I believe, part of what we're moving forward with this. If it becomes mandatory, we will have to use it, Judge. So.
And usually when those bills come effective September the 1st.
Correct.
And we hold our elected officials and candidates, people that currently file with us every 6 months, to see if anybody will change to this new system, because either way we're spending $14,000 the first year, $13,000 each year after, and I don't know if it's worth it if we've only got 6 people that are going to use it.
I doubt very seriously we just have just 6.
I think you hear from a lot of elected officials that they want to be able to file electronically.
Right.
We shouldn't have to file paper stuff with the county.
And that's
state level, we ought to be able to do it at the county level.
Right. And a lot of people ask us about that, and a lot of them want to have that notification. All of a sudden, you look up and the filing deadline is here. And another great feature about this that gives to anyone that files, there is a help button, all the procedures, what to do if, and all.
So like a little red box, you
right.
have to fill this in like you do with online applications. Well, it's great for the elected officials, and I know they want, it sounds like that at least there's a consensus here that we want, that people want that. But is there a product that we could buy so we're not paying somebody $13,000 a year? Because even if you get 50% adoption of this, I've
Well-
only got 50 people
That is
using
cheap,
something.
Yeah, but if we can
For
increase
transparency, that is
accuracy.
cheap.
Well, and that's what we talked to Mr. Vikram about, the cost.
Is there a more cost-effective way to do the very same thing?
You couldn't build it and maintain it for
Again,
$13,000 a year.
the benefit of basically using these cloud-based services or for this specific function is that you now have somebody else is basically responsible for not only maintaining the application, but also the infrastructure that goes along with it. And basically taking a look at the actual automation aspect of it as far as what Mr. Tony describes as what our staff does now, as far as the manual processes, hopefully that will be minimized and stuff to a degree going forward. Certainly if there's legislation that requires it, obviously I think this would be obviously very apropos at this particular point. But I think that one of the things that's probably a big advantage of it is being able to get the notifications, but not only office holders, but also for the people that might be considering filing, is that you get the notifications. And I think right now I don't think that this basically they get notified as regularly as you might expect. But I think that this will give them the ability to get those notifications based upon the profiles that they basically enter.
Required by law to notify.
Right.
By law.
Yeah.
They're getting the notifications that they're required to get.
On the
They're just
personal.
Not getting extra.
No, even on campaign.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Send it out on campaign also.
Anything we can do to increase accuracy,
Right.
reliability.
And for $13,000 to have unlimited licenses to use this software and what it does, the benefit, it just outweighs $13,000 a year. Licenses, when you have software licenses itself, that is a huge expense.
Very cheap.
Well, and I know that last time we discussed this in the legislative briefing, Honorable Warren did mention, exactly what you say, Ms. Tony, that it takes it's a long process to scan everything, to go and be able to put it online, and then there is a short frame. If the legislature passes this, of we will have to put it up, and that is part of the concern. So, Ms. Pippins-Pohl, I think it's a good step. I know how much I pay for any upgrade in any of the, dental office, IT components of charting. And I think that $13,000 to $14,000, Judge, it's about, pretty good. I'm used to pay about that amount just for updates, every 2 years. So I think it's about right. My biggest concern on this is obviously transparency. And second, that is easy to do. I have some issues not filing the whole thing one time, and I totally thought it was completely filed. Right. So just to be sure that is user-friendly. And
it has everything that's required for you to put into that system. It's not going to let you submit anything if you have not completed those required tasks that TEC says you're supposed to. So that's a good way for people to know that if you have not completed it, it's not going to be submitted. If you submit things that are not completed, then manual process, we don't go over that. Okay. We just file it. So, and I think the accuracy of this software that we've chosen, as Mr. Vikram says, it's a good, well-secured accuracy type of software. In that regards to, and the price itself, I think we're getting a win-win for everybody, for the county, for our staff, and also the county clerks. And we will be ahead of that schedule if they say, and it looks like it has a lot of momentum on that bill, that if it becomes effective in September 1st, we're ready.
Mandatory.
Yes. Then it will be mandatory, yes. We're ahead of the ball.
If it were mandatory, I wouldn't have any questions because I know it'd get adoption from everyone. My concern is that we're just going to spend money and people aren't going to use it. But I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, we get plenty of requests for it to be online.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Tony Pippins-Pohl. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Call the question.
Oh, I have one more comment and thank you, Ms. Blair. I see finally, and thank you to the DA's office as well for the Rock Island Road Bridge MCIP project. Finally made it in front of the court. This is a project that we're working with the city of Grand Prairie, also the wildlife project, and it, took a long time to get here. But thank you to your leadership, and obviously this is one of the projects that not only I'm very proud that the county has participated, but also the fact that the city is going to annex it once we finish it. So it's a great project, and I want to thank Public Works and their staff, and as well as the DA for helping us see the light faster. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Question's been called. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Move Court Order 26.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. We'll just give her just a second. All right. Any discussion on 26? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Right. Next order.
The ayes have it. I mean, you can.
Yes, the ayes have it.
Okay. Move Court Order 52.
And is there a second on that?
Yeah, let me check what 52 is. Second.
Commissioner Daniels, second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. All right. And I believe that takes us to our speakers. Will the bailiff please read the rules of decorum for our public speakers?
Commissioner Court attendees are hereby advised that this meeting is conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Dallas County Code, Section 74-71. Visitors and registered speakers are to preserve order and decorum at all times. Personal, profane, or slanderous remarks are not appropriate and will not be allowed at any time during this public meeting. Any and all applause is to be kept brief in observance of time constraints. Interrupters, visitors, and unregistered speakers may be removed and are subject to the penalties provided in the State of Texas Criminal Code, Section 38.13, 42.01, and 42.05. Registered individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and a maximum discussion of any one topic is limited to 30 minutes.
Go ahead, Ms. Phillips.
Good morning.
Honorable Jenkins, you do have copies of emails that I sent you one yesterday with attachments, one this morning in case they were intercepted like they have been in the past and you didn't receive them. It is noted that there are more allegations of harassment and retaliation against Fox News and Roger Ailes. Let it be known for the court's record that behind the scenes, when you talk to the young ladies who allege harassment and retaliation, that it was females behind the scenes that assisted Mr. Ailes, and probably more likely, it's very important that I say this, that assisted in the retaliation. That's not being spoken of, no different than what is happening right here. In the emails that I sent you are attachments that are filed in court that, one, I never ever signed up for a Dallas area habitat home. But because I speak and spoke and will continue to speak of the most massive cover-up documented in Dallas, it was used for blackmail and it was used for bribery. In the query for my bankruptcies, you will see that there are 4. The first one was filed pro se. I then retained an attorney. It was $750 a month. The attorney said, let it fail and we'll file another one. It was also $750 a month for the Chapter 13, the second one with the retained attorney. Same income, same debt. It's me because it was supposed to be me. I never understood why John Wally Price, beyond the hue of his complexion, was ever indicted, because each of you are the mask for inhuman crimes. And in the light of it all, I'm going to continue to endure the ongoing repercussions for speaking. With the documents you have, you had Sherry Kusanamo for NAMI and Herb Kottner for NAMI to speak here October 4th, 2016. Ms. Kusanami said, mental illness galloped in my family. So did Herb Kottner. His testimony is in your documents. How do you have people that self-profess to have went through depression, to have the authority to have the ability to arrest and to diagnose others with mental illness? On the arrest of October 2015 to October 25th, 2013, that was Herb Kottner. The resolution for making mental awareness October 2nd through October 8th is very important, Honorable Jenkins, because it was a judge that resigned after a non-minority alleged the same allegations that I allege, that the courts were in cahoots with those that are in corporate America. It's important, Honorable Jenkins, because non-minorities, minorities, and women are being thrown under the bus by other non-minorities, minorities, and women as in this massive cover-up. And for them, that team to be the scapegoat of the most massive cover-up documented in history is appalling.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
You're welcome.
Our next speaker is Mr. Richard Sheridan.
Yes, good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Appreciate being here. 3817 Vanette Lane, Dallas, Texas. I'm here to call for a revised county ethics code. And by the way, in your speaker's ethics code, you do make it perfectly clear, as what just happened, what you will do to the speakers, but what will you do to your own? The city of Dallas, very begrudgingly reported by the D magazine, and they said, ethics, what ethics, at City Hall, and the Observer just enacted some major revisions to their ethics code. The city's ethics code was enacted about 12 years ago under the administration of former Mayor Laura Miller with the help of her lawyer husband, Steve Rollins. The city's ethics code involves the code of ethics, the ethics complaint process, and an appointed ethics commission. In the 12 years that the city has had its ethics code, with almost 60 complaints filed, there has never been a filing of guilt against any elected official. This was during the same time of the council member Don Hill's corruption case, where he and his planning commission appointment, D'Angelo Lee, were found guilty and sent to prison. I filed almost more ethics complaints than anyone else in Dallas, and not one resulted in a finding of guilt. As far as I'm concerned, the city's ethics code was purposely crafted as a billboard, a look good to the people code, but intended to deny justice to the people of Dallas, with a lot of human suffering, wasted time, and money along the way. My research indicates that Dallas County has a relatively unenforceable code of ethics in the areas of purchasing and overall conduct of elected officials and staff. Both of these codes are essentially a list of desired ways our elected officials should conduct themselves. And some of them say properly administrate the affairs of the county, promote decisions which only benefit the public interest, keep safe all funds and other properties of the county. Bottom line, in summary, the ethical county official accepts that his or her mission is that of servant and steward to the public. Certainly the county's two codes of ethics have some great words and guidelines, but where is the enforcement? How do we make sure that all elected officials and staff follow a great code of ethics? Without an enforcement arm, they'll go on and on and on. Just like without a police force and a judge and punishment, a thief will continue his or her crimes. I'm providing you a list on the back of what I consider the violation of some of the ethics code back in October 2011. So I suggest that Dallas County do the following, similar to the city, but certainly better than the city. Establish an ethics commission, put together a comprehensive list of ethical conduct, and then you have the process Citizens file the complaint. The complaint is considered a preliminary hearing, then it goes on with a positive finding. And then what will happen after that? Fines, recommendation to the Commissioner's Court that be suspended or removed from office. So lastly, with the ongoing federal case against the Cedar County Commissioner, it would seem that there is no time but the present to move quickly to make the major resistance to the county's ethics code, to me leaving the county's ethics code as it would be in clear violation of the requirement that all commissioners and our judge be servants and stewards to the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our final speaker is
Daniel Shaw.
Daniel Shaw. Mr. Daniel Shaw. Mr. Daniel Shaw. And Mr. Shaw is not with us today, so we will adjourn in a moment to consider matters as authorized by Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as previously posted. Any action as a result of our closed session will take place in a subsequent open session, either later today or at another time. We'll begin our closed session in 1 moment.
CBS. Wanted to talk to you about what the sheriff had to say this morning. Just about needing some more